Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kasmi 107.1 FM and across the world at shrenews.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Education think tank backs decision of WAEC to prevent some WASI students from writing exams after they showed up late. We'll hear from WAEC on way forward as parents appeal for leniency. Also on the program this afternoon, experts call for comprehensive reforms in energy sector following release of report into Akosombo substation fire. Much later on the program, dozens of residents of Ejura and environs still stranded more than 24 hours after a major bridge under construction there that connects their communities caved in, flowing heavy rains. We'll bring you the latest. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Scores for final year students of Second D College who were unable to sit for the first part of the chemistry examination say they are emotionally devastated and fear they may never recover from the traumatic experience. Some of the affected students believe their years of hard work in school have been wasted after being denied the opportunity to write the paper. They remain divided over whether to sit for the chemistry practical examination, with some arguing that missing the first paper has already ruined the chances of passing the subject. On Wednesday, 154 students of the college were refused entry to sit for the paper after they attributed their lateness to the heavy rainfall. Western Regional Correspondent Abraham Mensah interacted with them earlier. He joins us live on the phone. Abraham, tell us more about what the students have been telling you. And we lost him right there, but let's hear them.
How do you feel this morning? How do you feel this morning?
Very bad.
How bad is it? Tell us.
So we are sad.
Were you affected?
Yes.
And being denied entry, how hard is it?
Sir, I felt I've wasted my years in secondary because I didn't get a chance to write the chemistry.
And do you think you are positioned to take the practical?
So even if I do the practicals, I'll still fail the chemistry. So I didn't want to do it because even if I do it, I'll still fail.
So you're still not going to write the practical exam?
So maybe I'll do it.
You are just left with some 20 minutes to time.
Yes.
It's a decision moment.
Yes.
Are you going to write it?
Sir, for now, I don't know.
How does it feel for you?
I feel like my life has ended. Like I have no use to this whole wide world anymore because the reason, as a science student, I need chemistry. Chemistry and biology is the reason I'm in school. And then just as I'm about to write it, just tell us that we are not going to be allowed because of rain. Rain. My life has ended. That's how I feel this morning.
Has the parents reached out to you this morning?
Yeah, they were disappointed.
And I heard there are some students who could not write the exams, but of course, education think tank Africa Education Watch does not think that the rain should be an excuse for the students not to get to school, because there were others who experienced the same rains but could make it for the exams in time. Here's the Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare.
Unfortunate. This is not the first time similar situation is happening. I mean, it's always been the case that the rules of examination require that you are there. I think you are seated, 30 minutes before the commencement of the paper. And once the paper commences, you are not allowed to enter. So though unfortunate, the rule is the rule. Okay, to be fair to all involved, to WAEC's duty is to apply the rule as it is. Okay, we will hold WAEC to the highest level of standards based on the rules established for examinations. And so, to the extent that WAEC will be held accountable by others, including us, to that standard, WAEC is enjoined to enforce the rules without fear or favor. However, having said that, the students also indicate that they had a challenge in that the weather didn't permit them to be there at the right time, and weather is a natural phenomenon. And so they also have a point. But that point, the extent to which that point should have prevented WAEC from firmly applying their rules is something that I am unable to determine. We at EduWatch have continued to make the point that Ghana needs what we call an assessment sector regulator. You see, in other jurisdictions, for example, in the UK, a report would have been made to a body called Ofsted, which is the agency in charge for regulating standards and assessment. So the WAEC equivalent in the UK would have been reported to by the students that we are aggrieved because of ABCD. We believe that while WAEC was implementing the laws, it was unfairly applied to us in view of our particular circumstances. So investigate and make a pronouncement which will lead to certain release to us. Unfortunately, we don't have that in Ghana.
And you had the Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare. Let's speak to John Kapi, who is Head of Public Affairs at WAEC. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
We do understand that 154 students in the Western region were stopped from writing the exams because they were late. What's the stance of WAEC on this?
Basically, we have rules that govern the conduct of our examinations. And during our sensitization programs, as well as the briefing sessions for supervisors, we spell out clearly what we expect them to do. And so, as far as we are concerned, the rule was simply, applied. That is, that candidates are not allowed in as soon as after the paper has started.
Well, we've now had parents also coming in and appealing for leniency. From the stance of WAEC, is there a possibility of reviewing this?
Well, for this year, no, because the examination is not limited to Ghana only or Takoradi only. It's a sub-regional examination that we're writing, and we write across all the member countries. So if there's any remedial thing that will be done, they will have to wait and write an update. That is what we provided for them.
All right. And if you can remind us again of the rules you have earlier, I understand. Some individuals were saying that 30 minutes you must be seated before the exams. Is that what it is? And to what extent or what level of lateness do you consider? 10 minutes? Or when exactly do you say that you're too late for the exams that you can't sit for it?
Right. So we have a manual of procedures that is meant for use by headmasters, headmistresses, and supervisors. And it states clearly in Rule 11.4 that candidates who arrive after the start of a paper should not be admitted to the examination room. For the avoidance of doubt, a candidate is deemed to be late when the order has been given for work to start. So these are the instructions that we gave to the supervisors, the heads of school. Everybody has a folder that contains this. And so normally when there are leaflets that we give out to the candidates, and rules 1 and 2, these are directions to the candidates. Rule 1 says a report at the examination hall at least 30 minutes before the start of the paper. And then Rule 2 says you will not be admitted to the examination room after the start of a paper. You will not be allowed to leave the examination room until at least 30 minutes after the start of the examination. Now, so these are clearly stated, and each of the bodies that should have these instructions have duly received them. And so we expected that every single one, would abide by them. Now, we have what we call clemency cases. For example, a candidate walks in and says, look, I'm from a health facility, there was an emergency, I had to see a doctor, I have this medical report to show, that one would consider. That one is always considered. And then it is brought here, and the exams committee looks at the merits of it, and then they allow the results to be released. So lateness is something that we do not condone. Early this week, as on Monday, we sent again a reminder because we had observed that some people were relaxing this particular rule. We sent a reminder to all our depot keepers, all our regional managers, and all supervisors that they should be reminded to observe and implement and ensure that all these candidates abide by this rule. So really, we've done a lot of education. We've sent reminders to everybody who matters as far as this issue is concerned.
Mr. Kapi, thank you so much for spending time with us this afternoon.
It's my pleasure.
And I heard that John Kapi, he speaks for work. Now, news just in, one more suspect arrested in connection with the stolen baby issue in Salaga, bringing the number to 3. Let's cross over now to Christopher Marco, my colleague, who's been monitoring this for us. Chris, what can you tell us about this suspect who's been arrested?
Yes, so Beatrice, I can confirm from police sources, that is the District Police Command, that one other suspect has just been arrested and is being brought to the Salaga police station. Now, according to the police, the more arrests will be made in the course of the day, and so this is all in relation to the stolen baby at the Salaga Government Hospital, which happened yesterday.
And if you can bring us an update on the mother. I know yesterday you spoke to her and she was distraught. Has her situation improved? And any other thing the family members are saying?
Yes, so the woman has since been discharged from the hospital and asked to go home. And for the hospital to be able to also continue with its internal investigation. So right now we have 3 investigations running. We have that of the Salaga Government Hospital. A committee is investigating this matter. We have the Regional Health Directorate, that is the Savannah Regional Health Directorate, also constituting an investigative team. And we all equally have the police who are also investigating this matter. These investigations are all geared towards getting to the root cause of the stolen baby and also identifying the suspect and handing the person over to the police.
Earlier yesterday when we spoke on New Day on TV3, you did say that the woman had been taking through some psychological help. Is that something that is going to continue?
Yes, for now we cannot tell. Once the woman has been discharged to go home, the community where the woman is coming from is about some 9 kilometers away from Salaga. Probably maybe in the course of the week, probably next week, a team may go back to the community to engage her and also take her through some psychological support. But as for now, what we do know is that she was taken through some psychological support yesterday, and hospital authorities have indicated that she's looking very healthy and fine mentally and psychologically, and so she has since been discharged.
And then yesterday, the 2 suspects, the first 2 who were arrested, were taken to a court in Tamale. Do you know whether they were remanded? What's the latest?
Yes, so they were remanded into police custody to reappear on Thursday, June 18th. 1 week, they were remanded for 1 week. And so next week, Thursday, June 18th, they are expected to get back to court. And they have since been brought back to Salaga Police, where they are going to serve their remand until next week, Thursday, for them to reappear in court.
And what charges have been leveled against them?
Okay, so according to police, the first is that adoption, and the 2 charges, of course. The second one is conspiracy, and so conspiracy and abduction of a baby.
Thank you very much, Christopher Mwakon. He's my colleague in the northern parts of the country. The Africa's Sustainable Energy Sector Center has called for sweeping reforms in Ghana's electricity transmission infrastructure following the release of an investigative report into the recent fire at the Akosombo substation. In a statement, ASEC says the incident, which investigators attributed to insulation failure caused by aging infrastructure rather than sabotage, exposed serious weaknesses in the country's power transmission system that must be addressed immediately. The committee set up to investigate the Akosombo substation fire outbreak yesterday presented its report to the Energy Minister and Dr. John Jinapo, attributing the incident to insulation failure. The committee's findings, which ruled out deliberate human action, said the inferno began in the changeover section of the low voltage panel where cables installed decades ago had deteriorated over time. Let's speak to Engineer Justice Ohini Akoto. He's the Executive Director of ASEC. Sir, if you can hear us, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, I can hear you. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to your cherished viewers as well.
Your statement that you issued earlier is calling for comprehensive reforms in the energy sector, of course, using the fire at the Akosombo substation as a peg, or the instance, as it were, for this very issue. When you talk about comprehensive reforms, what specific reforms are you looking at?
Yeah, so when we look at the incident that happened, clearly it is not a sabotage. It has to do with an engineering failure and then failure within the leadership as well. So the reforms you are looking at is, first of all, the issue should have never happened. We should have caught it through what we call infrared or IR scanning. We should have regular scanning of the cables to see the hot areas, to be able to isolate them, to fix it. And after that, the next one was we saw that the transformer within the medium voltage was still feeding. There was improper protection, or what we call short circuit coordination study within the protection. That is why one transformer was hitting the other. That is not done. Then the next one is that if the fire was even in place, which we didn't have very good fire detection and automatic fire suppression system, that should have caught it. That was also one that didn't really work well. So basically, within these areas, we need to get a very good infrared scanning, a very good protection, short circuit coordination studies, and a very good fire alarm system. If we're able to get these reforms, we should have been good to go.
In addition to the national reforms you're talking about, the investigative team actually talked about needs to have a new infrastructure over there. This is capital intensive. How would you expect government officials to go about this in phases to ensure that we're able to deal with the problem in time?
Yeah, so what we are saying is that at the beginning, the redundancy and bringing in the new infrastructure is good, but we don't have to ignore the troubleshooting causes. The issue that resulted in this. We have to address it. That is not something that is capital intensive. They should be able to fix it first before we look at investing heavily into another infrastructure. So now, ECG, Gridco, VRA should give us a roadmap on how they are going to do IR scanning, do their short circuit coordination studies, and then give us a very good suppression system. That doesn't need $1 million project to do that. If they are done with that, then we can consider the other things that we are doing. But those things are not financially, burdened, but we need those resolved. Else, if we go and get a new control center and these issues are not resolved, we are going to end up burning our data center, our control centers. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. And you just heard there the Executive Director of ASEC speaking to us, giving his thoughts really about the committee's report and what needs to be done moving forward. Engineer Justice Ohini Akoto, thank you very much for joining us and sharing those thoughts with us. Now, the Sataso Bridge collapse again after heavy rains disrupting transportation and affecting communities in Ghana's Ashanti region. As we speak, we understand that residents are still stranded around the Ejura and its environs because the bridge caved in. Earlier, Ibrahim Abubakar brought us this report.
The Sataso Bridge first collapsed on May 18 after heavy rains, cutting off access along the busy Kumasi-Mampong-Ejura highway and disrupting transportation and economic activities in the area. The incident affected residents, traders, farmers and motorists who rely on the route for their daily commute and business activities. In response, contractors were mobilized to the site the following day to begin reconstruction works aimed at restoring traffic flow and easing the burden on commuters. However, before the project could be completed, the bridge caved in once again after hours of continuous rainfall, leaving large sections submerged and rendering the road impassable. Scores of motorists and passengers were stranded on both sides of the road as floodwaters and the collapsed section of the bridge made it impossible for vehicles to cross.
I reached here as early as 6:33, but because of the situation, I couldn't cross it. So today I didn't go to classroom to teach. So I have informed my headmaster about the situation.
Since in the morning when we came here, we have not yet crossed the bridge, so we don't know what to do now.
With the bridge now inaccessible, some motorists have been forced to consider much longer alternative routes before reconnecting to roads leading to Ejura, Atebubu and Yeji.
Unless I go and use another route from Uamase and go and pass with some other road, that one, so because of the raining, that road will be very, very muddy there, so I can't pass there. So I have to go back home and go and rest.
Meanwhile, some youth in the area stepped in to assist stranded commuters and pedestrians, helping them cross from one side of the damaged road to the other. Responding to concerns, the Mampong Municipal Chief Executive, Yakubu Isifu, assured the road users that the assembly is working closely with engineers and contractors to assess the damage and restore access as quickly as possible.
They should exercise patience. The water level is still high, and then we are praying that by the course of the day it will go down, and then the contractor will create temporary access.
For now, many travelers remain stranded. Some have abandoned their journeys, while others continue to wait anxiously for a solution. Residents and road users are appealing to the government and relevant authorities to intervene urgently and provide a lasting solution as the recurring collapse of the bridge continues to disrupt movement and economic activities along this important corridor.
Ibrahim Abubakar brought us that report earlier. He joins us live on the phone now. Ibrahim, give us the latest. We heard the MC saying that they were going to look at the problem, especially after the water recedes. Tell us, what's the situation?
Currently, the road remains impassable. When you look at the extent of damage, yesterday they thought that when the water levels recede, they will be able to improvise and do a temporary bridge somewhere so that the vehicles will be able to access the route. However, they realized that they need to relax, have time and do an extensive job. So currently, for those who are walking, they are able to cross from one end of the bridge to the other, courtesy of some of the youth putting some wooden slabs on the bridge, so they will be able to cross. But if you are using motorbike, vehicle, or any other form of transportation, means you cannot be able to access that road. You then have to use the Kofiase route or even the Techimai route to be able to get to Ejura or Atebubu or Yeji. So the contractors came to site this morning, but still the water levels are high. They are just hoping that maybe in the coming days, the rains wouldn't come back again for them to be able to do an extensive job and be able to fix the bridge once and for all.
So, Ibrahim, what this means is that the people are not necessarily stranded as at now because their alternative routes may be longer.
Yeah, for now, people are not stranded because what others are also doing is that when the vehicle move them close to pass the bridge and pick another vehicle to their destination, because there have not been any timelines when exactly the bridge will be fixed. So you cannot remain there hoping that you will be able to cross it. So now people are to use the alternative, even though it comes at an extra cost. Because even yesterday, some of the drivers were demanding for extra money from the passengers because they said they will have to use more fuel to be able to access the alternative route to their various destinations.
Ibrahim, just tell us really what the impact has been since this incident 3 days ago. You reported about it in the morning yesterday.
Well, farmers have been affected now. Farmers are unable to move their goods from one end of the bridge to the others. We also have, so obviously economic activity in the area has slowed down. And then we even have, yesterday, there were some students and teachers who even couldn't because of, so every aspect of this have been affected. But then today, there is an improvement, like I of the those are
I'm so sorry, Ibrahim Abubakar, my colleague in the Ashanti region. The line has gone bad, and we do apologize for the poor quality of it, latter part of our conversation. But he's my colleague in the Ashanti region, bringing us an update on the bridge that caved in and the alternative routes that residents are using to move around. The African Center for Security and Counterterrorism says it is disappointed in the reassignment of an alleged fake doctor who was arrested 8 years ago, but now works at the Saboba Government Hospital. Omega Timothy, who styled himself Dr. Omega Timothy, was arrested in Wapoli in the Saboba district of the Northern Region following a joint operation by the Medical and Dental Council and the Ghana Police Service. However, in a statement, as these ASEC indicates that Dr. Omega Timothy now serves as the district health insurance manager for the Saboba Hospital. And we have Emmanuel Kutin, who is the executive director for the African Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism. He joins us live on the line. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Beatrice, thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
Your line is very bad. I don't know whether you have to reposition yourself so we can hear you clearly, but if you can hear me, how did this come to your attention, first of all?
Hello?
Did you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Your line is still not clear, but I will ask you the question. Hopefully you can answer with a clearer line. I was asking how you got to know about this.
In fact, this is a public safety issue, and it's also an issue of national public concern. There were failures along the line until we raised the RTR process to get this information. And if you read the report from the Attorney General's Department, for our RTR request, they wouldn't have assigned a new attorney to deal with them.
I'm sorry, we are unable to continue that conversation because of the poor quality of the line, but that was Emmanuel Kutin, the Executive Director of the African Center for Security and Counterterrorism. That's it for the Midday News on Sri FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Log on to srinews.com for more news. Good afternoon.